Okay. Let's see how much I actually remember. It's been a little over a month. Right. We just figured out that there was actually another passenger. And somebody threw a smoke grenade. Okay. Who would have done something like that? It's a young girl of around 15, I hear. This might kill it, actually. Thank you so much to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Yeah, if you're the criminal, there's no reason for you to kind of be in the courtroom. What's that? The 20 pence. Hmm? 5 pence per each. Took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence per each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. And that seems that there were, in fact, 5 passengers. Which means the figures don't seem to add up again. So... one of them is a stowaway? Wait, but... Trial would recommence in 5 minutes. The 18th of February, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey. Hmm? Lord Von Zeeks. Seems to have been an advanced form of a smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army. Hello. What do you mean they use smoke grenades in the army? Around this time? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Well, there's a difference between a smoke grenade and a smoke bomb, and that one definitely was closer to a smoke bomb than a grenade. If I may, I think perhaps oh, that's right, you had the accent. I said that the wheel has here in the first place and why she tried to pull it like that. That so much was obvious. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Begora? A loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fellow collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat up on the seat across from me. So I sat him up on the seat across from me. Why would you move? No, you probably didn't know that it was dead. Then I turned to find where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her weak self away. If he was down on the ground and you sat him up, you didn't see the knife? This young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? It is exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord. So she was number 5, but she didn't pay her toll. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. I have no idea where to start. That's why you're not saying anything. And I'm down to 4. Hold it! And when you first got on the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either, so you were the first passenger. And that's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tisn't the most comfortable, so it is. The question then becomes... So... if he was the first one, and he's not lying about that, the question then becomes, when did she get onto the bus? Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? That's how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman was sitting. So yeah, you were sitting on the one with the cargo trunk. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Zeeks, what are you waiting for? Then Begora allowed that and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. If the compartment was under where he was sitting, this implies that the man fell down on his own, but if he was also asleep under... If he was asleep on top of the girl, then she wouldn't have been able to get up and do anything, so then he would have just fell on his own? You have a reason to protect a girl, but why?
Hold it!
About that, you say? In a scream? Oh, that's right. How can I explain it? Just like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you'd think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed. Well, now you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me, I opened my eyes. There wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment you did hear a scream. From the seats above you on the deck, I presume? No. It was from inside the cabin. This doesn't make sense then. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fellow collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me.
Hold it!
You sat him up, the victim, you mean? That I did on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? So you knew he was dead, so that means you saw the knife. Just common courtesy, so it is. I found it a little hard to believe. You wait to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I did try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle of trouble. Are you suggesting you were just gonna leave the man there? Well, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddle in. The wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self just do just the same? The scream, he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing.
Hold it!
Press each one. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? It is a queer thing. Queer ting. And the wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse my vulgar expression, under me backside. Under your backside? So that means the scream was in response... The scream was in response to... the fall? So she couldn't have been the source. When I lifted a seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubby hole there for storage. Correct. We can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? So, he was dead there. But that's the problem. This raises. If he was sleeping here, then... she wouldn't have had a chance to get up. And the storage compartment is only there.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? That's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met. Well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her from under there, out from under there, and sat her on the seat. And sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. The seat opposite? That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. Not gonna explain why that's bad, but okay. As I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fellow's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGillard. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, and I think everyone's understanding now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. But that doesn't... It's certainly possible the defendant is somewhat diminutive. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and rarely confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Who is the girl? Gina Lestrade? Gina Lestrade? Why does that name sound familiar? She's a chancer, earns her crest among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. She's commonly called a pickpocket. Okay, but that wouldn't explain why she was in the carriage. Not only that, why would she be under it? Also, you're saying young girl? She's 17. Over here? What's the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipping up in... Oh! This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipping up and got caught on the job. She got herself back into a corner, so she knifed the gin. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? So, you... This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not... Don't do it. Knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for one is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. This was in a bag I lifted the other day, and down where they keep the four-wheeled drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding in the omnibus on the night in question. It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. Court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. If I have to. What the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up. Oh. So I snuck up inside the carriage before they hooked up the horse. Before they... How did I do that? So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of me skin. And the scream just came out. Because of that, this swerve found me. He did help me. He did help me get away, mine. Just those? So he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go. She can't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. Because you were sleeping on top of where she was hiding. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. Yes. Oi, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Perhaps I parked myself on the seat for the duration. Because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. So you see, that's why I let the last boat. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if the young life was ruined when all time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must realize your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. That is the whole carriage. The 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime, it is submitted as a piece of evidence. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a part of my own good name for the sake of the less fortunate lass. No, you wouldn't. No. No, because that doesn't explain the body. If neither of them did it, then who did it? No, this is wrong. We can't let this happen.
Objection!
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive this discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think that Scotland Yard would have such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. She couldn't have been hiding in there. It's noted in black and white in the police report. Yeah, because the last time... Wrong one. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? It depends on what you get. No. The last time I looked in here, there was luggage. There was stuff in here. That's why the first one's a trap. If you play based off of memory, then you would be like, no, that's an obvious lie. There was There's luggage in there, but there isn't anymore. Something changed. Naturally, we must have acknowledged the defiances that constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. I would rather you just use a slur. Please stop saying that. When a carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law, and I did. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? It was filled with luggage. You're trying to rope me into this just because it would be my win. Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. This is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Von Zeeks. Oh. We're jumping immediately to this. This is bad. What can I say about this thing? The little compartment of the seat in the omnibus. No, I remember distinctly that there was stuff in there. That's why I ruled out the idea that somebody could be hiding under it. I entertained the possibility, but it was filled by the time we were there. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case as a counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there was a number of articles inside it, yes. Bewist? What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? My job is to win. My morals are to find the murderer. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGillid. Gilded. Don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing. You always get it reliable. Now, the court must consider the facts. That cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? You're threatening me. Why do I feel like something's not right here? The compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that the omnibus should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been emptied on the night in question. That boat isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending Flancer and the pick purse are lying. We at least need the case to keep going. At the bare minimum, that's all that we need to find who the real murderer is, or at least buy time. The stinking rich are always thinking. Stinkers. Nothing but cowards, a lot of them. Oh no. Quite so. I must concur here. Okay, that's good. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. So we're at least back into the middle. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Before we proceed any further, is the matter of understanding the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. Then the Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always.
Hold it!
What do you mean, just like always? Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point in spending a joke? Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point in spinning a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's the wrong idea, you know? I suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Under this crypt, a little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers had 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And what a little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of the driver always going for some grub before his last run, see? That's when I sit in the carriage and get myself eaten under the sea. Nice and easy, right? You obviously have an Irish accent. But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach, you know. Yeah. There's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. You couldn't have done that. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all the stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. It was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night.
Hold it!
So you didn't get a single mark? A waste of time? Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own in the god... Most nights I'm on my own and the god permit at least some of the time. God permit. Oh yeah, well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. Point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got none in it for a while. Got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on me seat from the start. He didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the closed cabin. Yeah, right, mister. To be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child, you know, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there.
Hold it!
Sure. So you couldn't see at all. So you couldn't see into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. I can have a butcher's there who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. Wait, then that contradicts what he said. If that seat's not comfortable, then why would he sit there and try to sleep on it? More importantly, if you supposedly hid in there multiple times, you would know for a fact if that was the more comfortable seat or not. You both contradicted each other. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey riding over me head. And for that reason you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out? I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place that I in carriages, so it's Obson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to pickpocketing? Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? Yeah. No, that's too risky. Your plan doesn't even make sense, especially if you've been doing this for a while. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had just to stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. And after a while I could hear this little bang. Nearly jumped out my skin I did, and the scream just came out.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And I felt the cushion over me get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused had stood up in order to stab his victim, could it not? He makes a good possibility, sure. Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and at a quick butcher's while, I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the back, wood falling on the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGount's account. But then the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never risk looking. You suddenly get caught? It's because of that this... It's because of that this sphere found me. You did help me get away, mine.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGill discovered you, he pulled you out from the hiding place. I was scared stiff. I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke got a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and I ended up falling onto me. Both of my hands got covered in blood. It made me feel sick as a dog. Both our hands were covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked to Mr. McGill for a while, is that correct? You asked me some stuff. You wanted to know my name, and what I was up to in that. Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. That's the first on the roof deck would. But I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this Irishman says to me, "Get back under this seat. I'll see that you can get away later." That's inconsistent. It's clear that you're still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence amongst this intensity, I'm sure we could clinch the verdict we want. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. There's still a button missing. Bloodstained gloves. The bloodstain is on the right hand. Still a giant M. What names are in here? A report prepared by Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound. You would have been able to see them, you wouldn't have been able to see him. You said he fell over. this was tampered with. There wasn't this bloodstain on the floor. This is a horrible case to come back to after I, like, forgot so much. No, because they would have seen the bloodstain. Because that's dried blood. That was planted here just now. Oh, this is bad. So I snuck inside the carriage before they... Oh, it's just like always. No, you didn't. You couldn't have. Wait. It's pitch in there. So I stuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the oars. It's just like always. So you did it before the last ride? Presumably. But was a ride a waste of time? I got nothing from your troubles that night. Can't see a blind thing in the high place. It's pitch in there. Well, yeah. Your testimony doesn't make sense. Then after a while, it'll bang. When it jumped at my skin, I didn't scream, just came out. No, you didn't. If we stabbed in his seat, why would he fall? That bang couldn't have happened. Because cause of death is internal hemorrhaging and a result of a single stab into the abdomen. It is... It's either this... The omnibus cannot be used as a piece of evidence anymore. It is untrustworthy. It's either the crime scene photo or the autopsy report.
Objection! Hold it!
Check again. I mean, the noise is someone falling to the floor.
Excuse me.
Huh? There was blood that was planted on the floor. Contradicting that she had a loud bang.
Hold it!
Then the carrot starts to bit and he ended up falling onto me. He is unflinching. This doesn't make sense. I can't disprove that. So I don't waste the time. I got another show from the troubles that night. I'll tell you, you can see the blind thing at the hiding spot. It's pitch in there. Of course you wouldn't be able to see anything. Bloodstain on the right glove. I want to say it's the omnibus because of that blood stain that was just there, but
Objection!
nope. Please don't mind me. I need to press your statements again.
Hold it!
4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making it 20, yes. And 1 scapegrace riding for free. My concave driver always goes for some grub before his last run, so that's when I slip in the carriage and get myself on the seat, nice and easy. But you didn't put them anywhere. Okay, so we can't push you on that.
Hold it!
This cove was sat on me seat from the start. He didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not even an inch. I was totally stuck.
Excuse me!
It seems not forget I asked. Actively reloading a shotgun in the courtroom.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up in my head and look at the crack. Then I have a butcher's hat with who I'm gonna fiddle. May I have a look? The seat I got under it is plush as the other one, see? So most of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey riding over me head. For that reason you weren't able to push the cushion up. This small dark places feel too shaky.
Well, no. Excuse me!
Excuse me, why did that make you giggle? It was nothing important. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark was terrifying. So it was. I see. So I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Sensory deprivation only works to a certain point. What did you hear then? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Jabbers, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scum. What a pity. If only Miss Lushot had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. Was that she heard nothing? Yeah. Yeah! it's everyone here. It is everyone here. Cool, okay. You'll supplement your formal testimony by repeating the last statement, please. What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to look out what was going on, but I could hear it snowing.
Hold it!
So you're straining to hear what was happening the entire time since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push a cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got me head down so he didn't notice me. Mr. McGill had sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve, eh? What more? That? Wow. Would you Adam and Eve, eh? Being like Adam and Eve alone. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out or there as soon as I heard him leave. But we, not likely. Even though we stopped in there, I never heard the door open. That's a contradiction. So I just had to put... So I just had to stay put and listen to them driving these pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. It doesn't add up. McGill was the first, the victim was second. Even what First and the other person said, those two were inside the omnibus first. What do you mean that you were in there before Mr. McGill, but you didn't hear another door open? There was somebody specifically trying to also get in. You should have heard at least two things at the door. It seems my... So Van Seeks realized it too. I must insist that you both see your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. While she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGill snoring, but I think Rena's can think. There's something else she would have heard. Don't worry. This is Ace Attorney rules. Thrice fired. Yeah, no, you would have heard the thrice fired man. The thrice fired Mason.
Take that!
Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade could not fail to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person aboard the omnibus was Mr. McGillet? Gilbert. That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey, during which time did you not hear the door opening and closing at all? No, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Waiting for those swells to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Miss Pettigrew's statement was clearly flawed. It would seem words of thanks are in order, my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? It makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. She didn't say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little knight, just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. I don't want to judge a girl just because she had some less than solid ways, but I must say, I cannot abide liars. No, they're drawing the wrong conclusion. Your consideration for others is refreshing, to the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Sure, number 2 is the only one left. I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGill's innocence, the judge will have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. But those of us in service know we must accept our truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, If we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? So, okay. I might get what he's getting at. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. That's true. First said that they attempted to open the door, but it was locked. If it was locked after Thrice came on, that wouldn't make sense. Why would Thrice lock the door? And if Thrice did lock the door if Thrice didn't lock the door between Thrice and McGill, it would have been either of them. McGill was talking to Thrice. That was the reason why he first saw them. When did... And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. They're planting evidence to make it so that the body was in the carriage, but that wouldn't make sense. Why? Why would you plant evidence to be inside the carriage? That's why you put that giant blood stain. They shifted priorities. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? No, he couldn't have been put there after he died. There was an account of another witness that there being somebody there. There are two passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof of the night. There is no other entrance. It was locked. He was sitting... It couldn't have been after he died. He was stabbed definitively in the omnibus. He was in there already.
Objection!
To what specific point in time are you referring? The blood is too fresh. The blood dried. There is no other entrance. That's dried blood. Dried blood, it was in the sheath. The missing button. The button's not in the carriage.
Objection!
Obviously. How is there another entrance? There's a door there. She told me she got in. There's a latch. There's a latch at the top of the omnibus.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty.
They have voices?
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
This is a good test to see, though. How much does it give me back? So the second entrance is at the top. That doesn't explain how he was brought in. More importantly, why would he enter in from the top? I did not see that latch at all. I don't even think I saw it in the other... I don't think I saw that the last time I streamed this either. McGill never said how he got inside. How Thrice-Fired Mason got inside. The only account of the door we have is from McGill. Or from First. That's the only time somebody else brought it up.
Objection!
What in fantasy would come up with in the blind panic? On one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door, the other has only windows. Fixed windows which can't possibly be opened. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than that door. But that's incorrect.
Take that!
It could only have been the skylight.
Objection! Objection!
The skylight may be large enough for someone to pass through. So you claim, but do you have a shred of evidence to support your addled brain theory? Both Mr. McGill and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as a noise being someone falling on the floor. The thud was him falling from the skylight. I thought they were lying about the thud in general. Would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade the loud and involuntary cry, in fact. Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. That's not true. The other two passengers were only on the roof after those two were already in the middle. To be sure, now the two fellows who sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not as much case of them not saying, but... aye. In the case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellows do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? No! That's what the blood was covering up. The blood was there to cover this track. Please sit down. A very angry Hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. How far ahead did you plan for this? If I may comment, there was a defense that indicated the outbursts from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to... He proposed to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. The hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. That's only true if it happened after they were already on the rooftop. In our British court, that's what we term a baseless accusation. Very angry horse jockeying. I know I was rushed to put the idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. There was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. Let's see this matter through, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispense of it at once. Okay. All I can do is keep pushing forward. So now there are 4 people to keep an eye on. We were the only 2 people on the roof deck, dead or alive, I could swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, didn't you think that one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We have no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time. I tell you, we couldn't possibly have opened it. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I can't submit. How either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this person up rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if you two were in collusion with one another. But what reason would they have to collude? The 2 witnesses share no common dealings. I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich. In that scenario, that thinking is flawed. Generally speaking, though, might have a couple good points. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination. Yes. The proof I have him falling through the skylight is the blood on the carriage in the omnibus. However, the problem with that is that blood was planted there. That's fake evidence.
Hold it!
I have to see if there's another option I can take before that. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. No, you weren't. That's an eyewitness account! This is going so well. If anything happened when we were sitting, don't you think one of the other of us would have noticed? We would have! It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly? Is that some kind of a lark? Perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly? Are you fair dinkum, sir? I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in the bitter... I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage, your eyelids would be frozen shut and you never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it all because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. That's a lie! He's lying through his teeth. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. You don't apply that in a murder case. So you have never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before. You never met the men before, he said. Never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. How many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection.
No. Excuse me.
Hey, having a chuckle? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe it is fast approaching, is it not? Your payment day. You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. An unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. Is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motive a fella to pass his crimes off on another. Your implication is that they did it to frame you. That's the angle you're playing. That's the angle you're playing now because you weren't able to get off scot-free in the first half. Your accomplice was found out. Other top hats lying about on your head. Is that one of your own creations, is it? I'm just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find a perfect fit for every fine gent walks through the door. Perfect fit, is it? Well, it is a very distinctive design, so it is. There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence before, my lord. Yes, the style of hat is there. The Bricklayer's hat looks like the Hatter's work. Yeah. It is the Hatter's work. Wait, you recognize the hat, but you did. That's iffy circumstantial evidence at best. Wait, what? What was that achievement? For having identified the milliner responsible for the victim's hat in episode 3. So that was completely optional.
Hold it!
That means it's unrelated. Completely unrelated. Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. It's fast shutting now, just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. A fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, so it's still in on. Just look at the size of the thing, you understand. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider a bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting on our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke the window loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happens. I just meant to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see? But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as a rogue I did.
Wait, that ain't...
Excuse me!
You got something to say? That's how you got in. It opens. The skylight. That is what we're talking about, right? Please, you don't need to do this. You really don't need to do this. all them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. You can't do it from inside, you mug. Look, a few weeks ago I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great hole. I mean, I had purses come out my ears. But anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, it got worse to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight. You open the catch and jump right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck? You have no problem giving this evidence because it implicates. See? And if you knew about it being open, or if you knew that it could open from the top, I don't believe it. The skylight opens? And from the roof deck? You said that without answering, without knowing that there was another entrance? Speedy clue we've been looking for. Yes, but... So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate that for myself. Skylight's open, what do you mean? When? Why would you think about— I'm not even gonna ask. Why someone like me? Why would there be a bloodstain there? That has to be planted. That doesn't make sense at all.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and then immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. I have to trust Van Ziek to find the problem in this. Or something needs to happen, or else these two are going to be implicated, and that's completely wrong. We're using fabricated evidence. don't need to kick me. Please don't kick me.
Got it!
The bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, that the incident occurred, the skylight on the omnibus was open. And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. You're wrong, Ryunosuke. You're drawing the wrong conclusion.
Hold it!
Let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I, myself, wouldn't be able to open it now, would I? A locked room murder where you dump the victim into the locked room after you already put yourself in there. Your planted evidence. Blood wouldn't pool like that if he fell from the top after having a knife in his gut. No, 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 no. No.
Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection! Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute certainty no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least not until this trial began. Fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session. I say, I didn't expect such a crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Von Zieks. But I'm Magnus McGill, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end, even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey. I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I'm well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. So this is just a typical MO. Yeah, no, the blood's too bright and too recent. It completely clashes with with how dried blood actually looks like. When you wielded a fortune the size of Mr. McGillicud's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing's impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scenes of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut, Lord Von Zietz, this will not do to be sure. Will it now, Counsel? I think it's fair to say this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the scarlet didn't exist, you say. But, if you will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly put a smear of blood in it without the word than his wife seeing? Is that right now, Counsel? Incorrect if you forgot about the smoke bomb! My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. You're actually trusting me with this, huh? As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best as I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Yeah, no, we're already going to the point of like the defense and the prosecution working together against the witness. This ramped up a lot faster than I expected. It seems my learned his friend has no intention of running from this deceit. I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take as a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand. The courtroom was filled with smoke and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? Are you trying to pull, you rotten, freckless gouger? Freckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot that undermine me. So it is.
Objection!
So it is. Whatever you think it is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Judge, you really need to be paying attention more. Come on. To start with, the storage component underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. No one is able to corroborate your claims. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? There's one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
Objection!
Silence, McGilded. The court awaits the defense clarification.
What am I supposed to believe here?
Got it!
If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, we would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue.
I believe that the bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there is at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. You're giving up?
Memory, recollection, what people think they saw. It is all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there now.
Well,
And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Von Zieks.
the unaforementioned recollection of an individual cannot stand as evidence. Unaffirmed. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence. In the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. No.
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present.
Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter,
I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obligated to confirm with the defense first. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now with all these unexplained inconsistencies? I can't allow this. I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment of time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence. Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. What? Please stop tipping me. Huh? What do you mean? Nothing more than a formality. Neither side can prove anything definitively. We have a hung jury. But...
Objection!
You can't let this happen, come on!
The case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple.
They are throwing out the case. The prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful preservation of justice to take place. There was a smoke grenade in the courtroom.
Objection!
When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Von Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured. That's... The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, The jury will not be required to prefer judgment. Because it's hung. They're indecisive. They can't make a decision. You got away with a murder on your hands. With a knife that had your initial on it. That's how the first court case ends. Kangaroo court. He could have been. Because there's no reason why the defense attorney wouldn't have taken up his case if they knew that he was just gonna pull this. My blood is boiling. Who's actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. That... I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. Nothing's resolved. There's still a dead body. You got away with a murder, and now you got an entire boost to your rep. They can't implicate you anymore in this murder. What inspection? Why? Please don't. You really don't have to do this every single time. Would you mind putting that thing down? You're 17. Oh. You made that. This is a court. This is a courthouse. This is a courthouse. This is a courthouse. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? You put a tracker on it? You're 17. Please put that down. She was able to walk into the Old Bailey with a rocket launcher? Where do we go? We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London, we had rushed here. All of our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night, and we're not sleeping in that park. No. No. No, 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 no. No, you do not sleep outside during a London winter. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. I'm starting to regret turning this Ringo down. The trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of the first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. Oh. This can't be.
The realm of the Reaper. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro? Okay, that means next time we start, it's gonna be episode 4. I'm so mad. It's been a while since a case like that has made my blood boil. Oh, what was the last one that made me mad like that? It would probably be the last case of the second game. I have not been that mad about a trial in a while. Oh my god. So mad. Okay. Kangaroo Court. Wow. And then the fire at the end just okay. That means four is next, and after that is the last case. So that is halfway through Great Ace Attorney 1. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, no. Okay. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you had a better night than me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna play something that makes me happy. I am so mad. Yeah, I don't even know where to go from that. Yeah, have a wonderful... the greatest legal system in the world. Gotta love London. Well, basically being called a slur the entire time. Hooray, Great Britain.